Students in grade 9, good afternoon. Welcome to our English seminar for today, in which we are going to discuss 2 units, Unit 3 and Unit 4. Well, dear students, dear colleagues, let me first give you a clear idea about what we are going to discuss for today. Of course, as you know, dear students, in Unit 3, we have the reported speech. We are going to cover maybe some tenses and how we can report some sentences in English. Of course, in Unit 4, we can talk about the articles, and at the end, we are going to discuss maybe some quantity words. Well, dear students, dear colleagues, again, welcome to our seminar. Let me first welcome my dear colleagues in the studio who are going to participate me for today. Miss Lucia Karim, an English supervisor from Aleppo. Good afternoon, Miss Lucia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bassett.
Welcome to Damascus. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hussam Al-Mahmoud, an English teacher from Tartus. Good afternoon, Mr. Hussam. Thanks for coming from Tartus. Well, dear students, let's start with the reported speech. Well, dear Lucia, you know, when we want to report, I mean the student in grade 9 should have a clear idea about how to report someone's speech. Of course, we can report statements and we can report questions. Would you please give us, let's say, an idea about the reported speech, why we want to report someone's speech? I mean, a few details about this. Thank you.
When we want to report a statement,
yes,
we have first of all put the reporting verb. This is the first thing that we should do. For example, if we've got the sentence that is said by Salma, I want to go skiing this winter. Here
we can use the laptop. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Lucia. We can use the laptop. Thank you very much. Okay, you began directly. Thank you very much. We use 2 verbs to report statements.
Yeah.
Said and told.
Or told. So when we want to report this sentence, we should use said or told in order to report what someone said to someone else. In this case, here we have the sentence, Salma told Ali that she wanted to go skiing that winter. Of course, here that is optional.
Optional.
And we put
Why
the reporting...
is it optional? Because we have a subject after
we have a subject
which is
after
she
it.
here.
Yeah,
so we can omit that.
We can omit
it's
that.
Okay.
So it's optional. And we put the reporting verb, which is told.
Yes.
In the second sentence, we've got Salma said that she wanted to go skiing that winter.
So it's the same sentence,
it's the
but
same.
we can use told, we can use said.
Either
right?
told or said.
So the introducing verb here is used in the past. So, of course, here we have to change or to make some changes.
We have to make some changes in the tense, actually.
Yes,
next slide.
Okay,
yes.
Why not?
When we want to change the sentence into the reported speech, we have to make some modifications in the tense itself.
Yes.
If we start with the simple present, the simple present should be simple past. For example, Alice, I work in an office. The sentence which is reported here should be, Alice said she worked in an office. So the verb work is in the second sentence in the past, which is worked. We put it in the simple past.
Okay.
In the next one, we've got here the simple past, and we should change it into the past perfect. For example, Alice, I worked in the garden. Alice said she had worked in the garden.
So here we have the simple past
in the direct speech, and it becomes in the reported speech as had worked, which is past
Miss
perfect.
Lucia, let's stop here for just 1 minute. Here the student should know, I think, that these words, I mean the words of Alice, are not our words or his words. They are Alice's words, right? So this is what we call the direct speech. It is a direct speech, right? So when we want to report, these words are our words, become our words. We are now, let's say, the speaker. I am the speaker, or you are the speaker, or the student himself or herself is the speaker now. So he should use his own words to talk about what Alice said, or what Alice told her, what Alice told him, etc.
And in this case, we should put the reporting verb, which is said
or told.
told.
Yes.
The third one is from the present continuous into the past continuous. Example, Alice, I'm working in the garden.
It is the present
It's
continuous.
in the present continuous,
Yes.
and now we want to change it into the reported speech. It becomes, Alice said she was working in the garden. So, I'm working in the present continuous becomes as was working in the past continuous.
Good. Thank you very much. Well,
So in all the sentences here, Mr. Basil, we go back a tense.
a step.
A
yes.
step
backwards.
backward.
Yes. Of course, we are going to talk about this later on. We have maybe a timeline. We will clarify how we can go back a step, or how we can go a step backwards. Mr. Hussam, of course, Miss Lucia talked about some changes in the tenses.
Yes.
What about the pronouns? I mean, sometimes when the speaker uses I, of course, if we speak, when we speak, we use I.
Yes.
Me, you, and Miss Lucia, anyone, we say I. When we want to report, if you want to report my speech, for example,
we have to change some.
You have to change the pronoun I into something else. So we have some changes. Would you please talk about these changes, please?
For example, first of all, the change is not related to the tense only,
Yes,
okay?
of course.
We have to change, as you have said, the pronouns. For example, if we have the subject, which is I, we have to change it into he or she according
we have to imagine.
Yes, we have to imagine.
When someone says
said.
I, it could be, let's say, a man or a woman. I mean, a feminine or a masculine.
If he is a man,
right?
we should say he.
Yes.
And if she is a woman or a female, we have to say she.
Yes, yes.
Example, I am watching a movie. She said she was watching a movie. Look here, we have changed I into she because she is a female. And of course, we have changed the tense, which was present simple, present continuous, and becomes past continuous.
Okay.
And if the subject was we have to change it to be they.
Yes.
Example, we visit the museum every summer. They said they visited the museum every summer.
Because we are talking here about them, about a group. The group say, we visit the museum. Now, when we want to talk about them, we have to use they.
They. Yes, of course.
They visited, they said
This
they
is
visited the museum.
what is related to that subject.
Yes.
Now, if we move on to the object, in the object, we also have to change the pronouns. For example, if we have got me as an object, we have to change it to be him or her, and it also depends on, as you have said, we have to imagine, okay? For example, Sally gives me some money every morning.
It could be a male now speaking.
Yeah.
If he is a male,
Yes, if he is a male,
she
it
said
should
Sally
be
gave him.
him, yes.
If she is a female,
she, her.
her. Yes.
The example,
Yes.
after we report the sentence,
okay.
it will become, she said Sally gave her some money every morning, or he said Sally gave him some money every morning.
Good.
In the plural case, when we have us as an object, we have to change it to become them
Yes.
as a group. Sally and John, as example, Sally and John give us some chocolate.
Or gave us, yes.
Sorry, gave?
It's
Give
okay.
or give, it's okay.
Give. It's okay.
Now, it's present and it will become yes. They said Sally and John gave them some chocolate.
Good.
Here we have changed us to be
Into them. Yes.
them.
Yes.
Now, as we change the pronouns as a subject or an object, we have to change possessive adjectives if they are in the sentence.
Yes.
For example, if we have my, it must become into his or her, and it depends on if he was a man or a woman, as you have said before. My mother, as an example, my mother cooks very well. She said her mother cooked very well. Here we have changed my into her because she is a female. And of course, we have to change the tense from present simple into past simple.
Yes.
And in the plural
cooks
case,
becomes cooked. Yes.
in the plural case, we have to change our as a possessive adjective to their. Example, our parents are taking us to the park. After we report the sentence, it will become, they said their parents were taking them to the park.
Yes.
That's about the change of the subject, object, and possessive
Adjectives. Thank you very much, Mr. Hussam. Well, I think we can talk also about time and place references.
Yes, there
are
another
other
change.
changes.
Yes, other changes related to
For
time
example.
time and place references. For example, if we say, I will meet you here tomorrow. Tomorrow here, when we report the sentence, we have to change it into the following day.
Here, I think we have two adverbs in the same sentence. The
Yes.
first adverb is a
Here
place,
and
adverb of
is
place.
place and time.
Yes.
For the, I have talked about the time. Now here becomes there, and tomorrow will become the following day. And the sentence as
If
a
the
whole,
place was changed, of course, if we are now here
Yes.
in the studio,
And if
after
it's-
1 week from now, if we want to talk about what happened here, of course, here must be changed because we are not still in the same studio. We
Yes.
are in another place. That's why we should change here
Exactly.
into there, right?
yes. And if we didn't change the place, it can be here. It's okay.
Yes.
Okay. The example, I will meet you here tomorrow. She said she had met him there the following day.
She would. Here, I'll meet. Will, you are talking about will here, right?
Yes, will.
Will becomes
Would
would.
become would, yes.
She'd meet him.
Yes.
She would.
She
Here,
would
this
meet
is the
him
short
there.
form of she would.
Yes, will becomes
Yes,
would.
Exactly.
Would meet him
Exactly.
there the following day.
Yes.
We here have
Yes,
two
yes.
changes, here into there and tomorrow into the following day.
Or the next day.
Yes.
Or the day after.
The day after,
All
yes.
of them are accepted. And correct.
And if it was yesterday,
Yes.
the day before,
The day before, the previous day.
yes, the previous day,
Yes.
the last week, the previous week, the week
etc.
before.
In the
etc.
same strategy. Yes, thank you
in the
very
same.
much.
That's about the changes, yes.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Hussam.
Okay.
Well, Miss Lucia, we have talked now about how to report statements. What about questions? When talking about questions, of course, we can report WH questions and we can report
Yes, no.
a yes/no
Yes, no
questions. We
questions,
have
yes.
two types of questions, maybe three types, but the two types of questions that can be reported, I think, are the first two types. I mean, WH questions and yes/no questions. What about reporting WH questions, please?
Okay, so far we discussed the reporting statements. In reporting statements, we've got two cases. The subject, how can we change it, and the tense itself.
Yes.
And how can we go backward in the tense itself. Now in reporting questions, we've got something else. Besides the subject and the tense, we have to do something which the question word and deleting the question mark. Let's start. Reporting WH questions. Of course, here we've got, as you've said, WH questions and yes/no questions. Let's start with the WH questions. Why are you laughing? When we want to report this sentence, first of all, we have to take a look at the reporting word, which is why. Here we have to keep it the same and put it in the sentence.
We have to use it in the reported speech.
Yes, of course. So we have to say, he asked, between two brackets, me, why I was laughing. What are the steps followed here in order to make the sentence as a reported question? First of all, we put why, then we change the subject, which is you, into I, and next we just change the tense backward from the present continuous into the past continuous, and here we deleted the question mark, how we just changed the place of the subject and the verb in order to get a statement
Yes,
here
yes,
and
yes.
change it from
We are
question
not asking
into a
here.
statement.
We are not asking
It's just
here.
a
The
clue.
student should know that the question must be changed. He is not asking. The speaker was asking a question
And
or
we're
asked a
just
question.
reporting the
and
question.
he is just reporting his question to someone else, to his friend maybe, to
And the
anyone
structure
else.
happens.
So let's do it here together. We are free now in the studio.
Yeah.
If I ask Lucia a question, why are you laughing? And Hussam asked you, what did Basil ask you? What
So-
would you say?
Basil said why
Or
I
asked,
was
asked,
laughing.
asked.
Basil
Basil
asked,
asked me.
sorry, Basil asked why I was laughing.
Exactly.
So in this case,
me or not me, it's okay. We can use it and we can omit
It's
it.
optional.
It's okay, and we can replace it by any other pronoun. Asked him, asked her, etc.
It depends.
It depends on the same context, yes. Well, now, what about the second question?
What
The
are you
second-
going to do after school? She wanted to know what I was going to do after school. Here the reporting verb is she wanted to know instead of she asked. And then we put the reporting questions with
In the same way,
question word, which is
I
what.
was going.
And I was going to do, which is
Good.
in the past. And we, of course, deleted the question
So
mark
when
and
reporting
put it as a
statements,
statement.
general statements, we can use said and told or told.
Yeah.
When reporting questions, we can use the two verbs. He asked me
He
or
asked
she
me
wanted to know.
or she wanted to
She
know.
wanted to know or he asked me, he asked her, etc. Good.
The second type of reporting questions, which is reporting yes-no questions. As we've said before,
Why do we call them yes-no questions, Miss Lucia?
because they start, of course, in the answer
With an auxiliary
with
verb.
an auxiliary, and
We don't have a question word.
we don't have a question word, and the answer
Could
itself
be
starts with yes or no.
Do you swim, for example? I can say no, I don't, or yes,
Yes,
I
I do.
Can you fly? Of course, I can't. No, I
So
can't. Okay.
no, I can't. First of all, we use the reporting verb, which is ask or wanted to know. Then here we have to put if or whether, because in the yes-no questions we start with an auxiliary. So we have to replace it with if or whether in order to start a sentence when we want to report it. For example, did you enjoy the class? She asked me if or whether I had enjoyed the class. First of all, the reporting verb is she asked me. Then we start the sentence with if or whether. Then we changed the subject from you into I. Then we changed the tense from past simple into past perfect. And then the rest of the sentence, and of course here it becomes as a statement and we don't have a question mark.
Yes. Good. Thank you very much. What else?
She wanted to know if, whether I had enjoyed the class, the same, but here we put the reporting verb as wanted to know.
Yes. Of course, here we use the past perfect because the question itself, as you said, is in the simple past,
simple, yes.
not in the present. So that's why we should go a step backward and use, let's say, the action or the tense which happened before asking the question, which is the past perfect.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Now, I think it's a good idea to talk about some details, Mr. Hussam. I mean, we can have a time line
yes.
and clarify for the students
how
they can go. They can go back. They can go a step backwards.
Yeah.
Sorry. What about this? The first example, please.
Okay. The first example, when we say I visit my friend on the weekend.
Yes.
Here the verb visit is in the simple present tense. And when we say we have to move a step back, this means that when we report the sentence, we have to change visit from present simple into past simple. And the change will be like this. He said he visited. Visited. Look here. We have changed visit from present simple into past simple. Because
and I becomes he.
Yes, yes.
And my
it's
becomes
another change.
Yes, yes.
About the pronoun.
So you are talking now about the tense.
Yes,
step by step.
Yes,
okay.
Step by step.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Look here. When we start reporting, we use he said, and when we say we said, he said, we have to change the tense. We have to take the tense a step back. Visited becomes visited, and of course we have to change the pronoun from I into he, as we have said previously. Then I visited my friend on the weekend. He said he visited his friend on the weekend.
Yes.
He, I becomes he, visit becomes visited as a step back. My friend as a possessive adjective, yeah, it becomes his friend on the weekend.
Thank you very much. Another example, please.
The next example is, I'm writing a letter to my friend.
Yes.
Here the sentence is in the present continuous. When we want to change it into the reported speech, we have to make it in the past continuous. And the sentence would be, she said she was writing a letter to her friend. The reporting verb is said. She said. Next, we changed the subject I into she. Next, am writing, which is in the present continuous, becomes was writing, which is in the past continuous. And next, we've got here my friend as her friend in changing the object. Of course, here, dear students, just pay attention to the verb to be, because if we've got, for example, they as plural, here we have to put
To use a plural verb.
were writing.
Yes.
Just pay attention if we've got plural or singular in order to change
Because
the
in the
tense
past,
in a
verb to
correct
be
way.
has two forms. In the past,
Then we have
was and
three
were.
changes here.
Yes.
I, subject, and the tense, and my as
Which
a
is
possessive
an
adjective.
object.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The next example, Mr. Hussam, please.
The next example, the sentence says, I visited my friend last week.
Yes.
I visited. It's past simple here, and as we have said previously, it should be change into past perfect, and the sentence will become, he said he had visited his friend last weekend. Three changes: the subject from I to he, and a step back above the tense, visited into had visited, and finally the possessive
My
adjective,
friend.
my friend,
His
it becomes his friend because he is a male.
Yes. Thank you. Next example.
The next example, I will visit my friend. Here we've got future, and we want to change it into would when we want to report the sentence, and it would become, she said she would visit her friend. Here, I as a subject becomes as she, will visit becomes as would visit, and my friend as her friend. Just pay attention here, dear students, that will visit becomes as would visit, and put visit in the infinitive form, because after would we've got infinitive.
After modals, we
After
use the
modals.
zero form.
We
Yes,
don't change
exactly.
So we don't
Exactly.
have any kind of change for the verb itself.
Thanks a lot. Mr. Hussam, now I think it's time for, let's say, a simple exercise,
drill or
simple practice, let's say
feedback.
that. And we hope that the students are watching us now and they can participate or try to train themselves how to choose the correct answer.
Yes.
So would you please give us some
Yes,
examples?
and I'm
some
going to
questions?
read and give them some time.
Yes.
Just to try to think
To
and
think.
answer.
Yes.
And try themselves. Okay.
Thank you.
He said. I have to choose here.
Before we
lives-
go on, Mr. Hussam, sorry,
Yes.
maybe we have a call. Nadia, good afternoon, Nadia.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, Nadia, you are in grade 9, I'm sure. What's your question, please?
I have a question. When I have to answer a question about myself, must I write a complete answer?
Can you hear the voice? Do you hear her?
Not really good.
My colleagues? No.
Somehow.
I can hear her. Would you please repeat your question again, Nadia? Nada, sorry. Nada, repeat your question, please.
I have a question.
About myself?
About myself, must I write complete answer? For example,
Okay.
how
can
old
I?
are you?
Yes.
Can
How-
I write only 15?
Of course, I am 50. Nada is asking Mr. Hussam about a question. When we ask, for example, someone, how old are you? Can you say, I am 50 or 15? That's it?
In real life, you can
course.
say that. But what
You
about
can.
the exam? It's
You
okay.
can,
Why not?
Nada, of course. You can say, I am 15 years old. and you can say, I am 15.
Yes, it's enough.
Okay? That's correct, of course. But your second question, let me answer the second question. Let me say, I myself, let's say, love parties, or I love parties myself.
Yes.
Okay? When we want to report this sentence, Miss Lucia, let me ask Nada herself. Okay? Nada, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. When I say I love parties myself, if I want to report someone, her speech, if we say she said, can you report her sentence? What did she say? What did she say? Okay, let me talk about myself. Okay? I myself love parties. What did I say? Report my sentence. You said,
You said,
or
you.
Basil said,
yes.
Basil said.
he,
Mr. Basil,
he.
can we act it out?
okay, Lucia, please.
Mr. Basil said, I love parties myself. Now, to change it into reported speech, we have to say, he said, or Mr. Basil said, he loved parties himself.
Himself.
That's it.
Okay?
Okay.
Nada has just asked a very good question about the reflexive pronouns. I mean, myself becomes maybe herself or himself. If the speaker is a male, Nada, we use himself. If the speaker is a female, we use herself.
Herself, yes.
Okay? If the speaker, let's say, is a group of people, for example, we, ourselves, when we want to talk about them, we say they. Themselves.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, Nada?
Okay.
Do you have another question?
No, thank you.
Thanks for your call. Goodbye. Thank you. Well, a good question. Let's go back, Mr. Hussam, to
Okay.
your explanation or the exercise.
Okay, here, as we have said, I'm going to give the students just some time or some time to think about the sentence
The
and
correct
try
answer.
to to choose the correct answer. He said he lives or lived in Damascus with his family. He said he lives or lived in Damascus with his family.
So we have two choices here.
Is it lives or lived?
Lives is in the present simple.
And lived in the
Lived
past
is in the past simple.
sentence. Yes.
And the reporting verb is said.
Said.
It
It's
is in the past. So
and the student have to choose lived
The
because
past.
yes, the past tense because the reporting is in the past.
yes.
Then
And
the
according to the
sentence-
timeline, which is past
Exactly.
simple.
a
Exactly.
step
present
back. Yes,
simple.
very good. He said he lived in Damascus with his family. Another example, our teacher said the geography exam is not going or was not going to be difficult.
Our teacher said.
Our teacher said it's in the past. The geography exam was not going to be difficult. Was, not is, because it has to be in the past also.
Okay, before we go, we have another call. Abdul Al from Tartus. Good afternoon, Abdul Al. How are you? I can't hear the voice in the studio. Maybe my colleagues can't hear you. I can them. Al, what's your question, please?
I have a question.
Mr. Hussein, do you ask me?
Yes,
What is your question?
I have a question. Page 7 of the page.
Page
have a-
21
Students, I think.
in the student page 20. Just a Abdul
Is it
Al
about-
to the exam about what? Information.
About the word famous.
No, here. Bottom of
The page. Here you must this culture is for
enrich your
information,
knowledge.
your knowledge. But forget about exam. The
Just
word
to
here,
raise their
the word
cultural
famous
awareness, and that's it.
waterfall, Niagara Falls, is in both the USA and Canada. Here, it's, let's say, a geographical information. You have in the exam an English exam, not a geography exam. Okay, Abdul Al.
Okay.
So it's not necessary to learn by heart some geographical information.
It's good
but
to
it's
know.
good for you to know that Niagara Falls is in USA and what? Where is
Canada.
it? And in Canada. So we know now all. Thanks for your call. We all now
We are not
know
going
this
to
information.
ask you about geography, yes.
Thanks a lot. So that's it. Don't care about this. No. What we want from you in the exam, Abdul Al, is to have really good skills in grammar, in all skills, reading skill, listening skill, speaking skill, writing skill, grammar skill, etc. Okay, this is what we
Okay.
want.
And not
Thanks
geography.
for your call. Your question was great.
Welcome.
Do you have another question?
No.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Hussam.
thank you.
Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, Abdul Al. Thanks a lot. Well, go back.
Let's go back, yes.
Let's go back to
A third
our exercise.
question, and think with me. Alia told Tariq he could borrow or can borrow her camera. Is it could or can? And look, we have here another kind of reporting. We use the verb told. It's in the past also, but it's told, not said, as
Yes.
in the two previous examples. Alia told Tariq he could borrow or can borrow her camera.
I think
And
it
as you
is
know, it should
could
be
borrow.
could borrow.
Why? Because
Because it's
told
in the
here
past.
is in the past.
Yes, and the verb told is in the past.
Okay.
Another example, Ibrahim said he is going or was going to the library after school, and we have to use was going here because the verb said is in the past also.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hussam.
Okay.
Now we hope, dear students, that everything is clear now about the reported speech. We are sure that you know and you practice a lot at school, at home, how to report statements, how to report questions. So that's everything about the reported speech. We hope that we have discussed, let's say, some important details which are or could be beneficial for you. Well, Miss Lucia, we know that in English, in general, students know that we have some words which may express quantity, or we call them quantity words. Of course, when we talk about quantity or about number, we have some words which maybe can be followed by some nouns. These nouns could be countable nouns
Or
and they
uncountable
could be
nouns.
uncountable nouns. When we say countable nouns, what do we mean by this?
Countable nouns, of course, we can add S to the noun.
You mean you can count it?
We can
For
count
example,
it.
one car,
One
Yes.
two
car,
cars, three
two
cars.
cars,
That's
three
why
cars.
we call it countable
nouns,
noun.
yes.
Car is a countable noun. What about sugar, for example?
Sugar
Can we
here,
say one sugar, two sugars?
We can't say one
Can't
sugar
say.
to sugar,
We
and
can't count it.
at the same time we can't put
So
the plural
it is
S.
called uncountable noun. That's why we call it
But
uncountable.
just here, I've got a hint that we can say 1 kilo of sugar.
Of course.
2 kilos of
Of
sugar.
course.
It's okay.
Here, the word kilo,
Kilo
is
is
countable.
countable. Yes.
1 kilo, 2 kilos, 3 kilos.
But sugar
But
itself,
sugar itself is
we
not.
can't.
We are counting
Okay.
the quantity itself.
Again,
yes.
maybe some students get confused when they deal with the word money. They think of money and they say, oh my God, we
Is it
can't count
countable or
money.
uncountable?
Money must be countable. No, we cannot say the word money, the same
Itself.
word. We cannot say one money, two
Two
monies,
money, three
three monies. So the word money as a noun is uncountable noun,
Yes.
Yeah.
not countable. Of course we can count money. We
Of
can
course, we
count.
can say coins, for example,
Yes.
1 coin, 2 coins,
Exactly.
3 coins, but we can't say money and money.
Yes, thank
Or
you
we
very
can
much.
count the unit of currency itself.
Yes.
Liras, dollars.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pounds,
Pounds, for example.
Syrian
Yes.
pounds, etc.
Yes.
Yes. Let's talk about two, let's say, main phrases. I mean, two main expressions. We use too many a lot, and we use too much a lot. What about them, please? They are mentioned
Too many.
first in Unit 4, maybe.
Yeah, they are in Unit 4. According to too many, it is used for countable nouns, whereas too much is used with uncountable nouns. And here we've got the same for too few and too little. Too few is used for countable nouns, and too little is used for uncountable nouns. If we've got here an example about too many and too much, there are too
Not
many
only
cars.
too many, too few.
Too few, yes.
Yes, yes.
It's with countable nouns. There are too many cars on the road. Here we've got the word cars, which is a countable noun. We can say 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars. So in this case, it's a countable noun, and we have to use too many with the word cars.
Yes.
Another example, too few people use bicycles or walk. Here we've got the word people. Here we've got uncountable noun, and we have to put here here we've got too few as opposed to too many.
You mean
So
too many of them
too many
use
of them,
cars?
Yeah, use cars.
But few people
of them, yes.
use bicycles.
So here we have to put
Yes.
too few
Yes.
as a contrary to too many. What about too much?
Yes.
Too much is used with uncountable nouns, and here we use too much plus a noun which is uncountable. Example, there is too much pollution in cities these days. Here we've got the word pollution, which is uncountable noun, and we use here the word too much as it is used with the uncountable nouns. Another example, which
So
is
pollution is
uncountable noun. Too much rain will damage the crops. Here we've got the word rain, which is uncountable, and the same thing, which is too much as with uncountable nouns.
Good. Thank you very much. I think that's everything about too much, too many, some
Quantity
words
words,
which
yes.
may express quantity. What about, Mr. Hussam, I think the last maybe topic in a grammar,
Yeah.
which is the definite article the and the indefinite articles a and an. Would you
And.
please give us an idea about how to use the and how to use the indefinite articles a and an? Thank you.
Yes, they are mentioned in the Unit 4 in the 9th grade book. We have two kinds, definite articles and indefinite articles, as you have said. The as a definite article, which we use for known things or very known things, and an. In the singular form of the nouns, we use a or an when we are not sure about something, or in other cases which is related to, or which are related to, for example, if we pronounce or say or talk about the thing for the first time.
Good.
Okay.
Can we use, let's say, a simpler word, Miss Lucia, to change the word maybe definite? When we say the definite article, the, maybe some students do not understand the word
Yes.
definite here.
Yes.
Can we replace it by another word? When we say the definite article, it means maybe something definite, something known to everyone. I mean, it is known for the speaker and it is known for the listener. When I say, I painted the car,
So in
you
this
know
case,
which
you
car
know
I
which
painted.
car.
Yes.
It's my car. So that's why I used the, not a car, not any car. It's the car. So you know the car, and I know the car, I'm talking about something specific,
And it's used
not
with
in general. You see, when we use the word the, we mean that we are talking about something definite. I mean, the glass, the water in your glass. Let me see. The water in your glass is clean, right? But when we want to talk about water in general,
yeah.
we say water. Water is necessary for life.
There is no need to use
any
that.
water. But when I want to talk about this water, I have to say the water in your glass, etc. Would you please give us some
about
examples?
that? First of all, we don't use the with nouns or which we talk about in general. For example, children like visiting zoos. Here we use a plural noun without the for talking about things in general. Children like visiting zoos. Children in general like visiting zoos in general.
So you are talking here about all children.
Yes.
Children, not a group of children in your family,
Exactly,
for
yes.
example, or in your village, for example.
Yes.
You are talking about all children. Children, all children, like visiting zoos, all zoos, not some zoos in specific, I mean.
Yes, there is
Good.
no special group of children in
Yes.
general. Another example, action films are interesting. Action films, they are always interesting. Any action film is
You are
interesting.
talking in general
And
now.
in general, action films are interesting. I think students in the 9th grade like them very much, I think.
But when I want to talk about something specific, let me give you an example. The action film I watched last night
We have to add,
was interesting.
yes, a relative
You see?
clause
You see?
here.
Here you
Here
specified
I'm talking about something
movie.
specific. The action film I saw or I watched last night. So here I'm talking about something specific.
A specific,
But when
yes.
you say action films, you are talking in general.
In
There is no
general,
need
yes.
to use the definite article.
Yes, a third example, video games attract most children. Video games attract most children. Video games attract any video game.
All
attracts-
video games.
Yes, all video games attract
In
most
general,
children
in
in
general,
general.
yes.
And I'm not talking about a specific game.
Okay.
Now-
before we go on, I think it's time for a short break, Mr. Hussam.
Why
Ms.
not?
Lucia.
It's okay.
Dear
Okay.
students,
I approve.
We hope that you are watching us. You are still watching us. I'd like to remind you that you can use the phone numbers shown at the bottom of the screen to contact us. We will be ready to answer your questions. But before this, let's have a short break. Then we can go back. Thank you. Dear students, hello again. Welcome back to our English seminar for today. Before the break, we were talking about the definite articles. Mr. Hussam was talking about the definite article there, and he said that there is no need to use the definite article before
When we talk about
nouns or
nouns
when
in general.
talking about things in general.
Yes.
That's number one.
Yes.
What else?
What else? Now, we use the for regions. For example, when we say Aleppo is in the north of Syria, in
Yes.
the north exactly, it's not in the south, not in the middle, it's in the north exactly of Syria. Aleppo is in the north of Syria. Here we use it, we use the for regions.
Before going on, Mr. Hussam,
Yes.
we are very sorry. Maybe we have another call. Ala, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Good. We're fine, thank you. Your question, please.
On page 58.
Page 8, what book?
Activity book.
The activity book, page 58. Okay.
Exercise 2.
X 2.
Yes, thank you very much.
Activity book, page 52.
52 or
52 or 25?
No, 58.
58.
58.
Good. 58. 58.
It's Journey by balloon. Is it?
58. Let me see.
Yes,
Let
Ala,
me
a
see.
journey by balloon.
58. I'm trying to find the page. Yes, here we are.
Reading
What's
skill.
your question? We can use the laptop if you like. Thank you very much. Can use it. What is your question, Ala?
Along on a difficult journey to discovery a new air.
Are you asking me about the composition? What?
Along on a difficult journey.
Which one? Exercise 2?
Exercise number 2, yes.
A
One.
long and difficult journey to discover a new area. Okay. Ala, when we go on a journey, let's say it's a picnic, right? We all go on a journey at any time with our family, right? With your friends. But when you go on a journey to discover something, to discover an area, what do you call this journey? What kind of journey is it? Is it an expedition?
Yes, it's an expedition.
Am I right?
It can be, yes.
So an expedition, Ala, are you with me?
Yes.
Do you know the word expedition? It is mentioned in the text, I think.
Yeah.
An expedition is a journey, okay?
Yes.
But not any kind of journey. It's a journey for a scientific purpose.
For example,
okay.
in the
The
text
seventh-
itself, it's polar expedition.
Exactly. The text itself, as Miss Lucy said, is about a journey to the North Pole. Am I right? Or
Yes.
to the South Pole?
It's
To the
okay.
North Pole.
North or south?
Here-
North or
North
south.
and
So
south,
it
yes.
is a journey to discover a new area, a new place in the North Pole maybe, or in the South Pole, right? On a balloon. So this kind of journey, when it is for a purpose, for a scientific purpose, we call it an expedition. So what is the meaning of a long and difficult journey to discover a new area, Ala? Please, give me the answer. Ala,
Yes.
an expedition?
We gave
What
you
is the answer here in number 1?
Number 1.
Expedition, right?
Yes.
So a long and difficult journey to discover a new area, again, is what?
Expedition.
Ala.
Ala, it's expedition.
Repeat the answer, please. Ala.
Find the words.
An expedition,
find
an
words
expedition.
in the text that mean.
What? Sorry?
Find the words in the text that mean.
Where is it?
Exercise 2.
Exercise 2. Guys, or number 2, number 3, which one?
Number 1. Exercise 2.
Number 1. So, exercise 2, we said
What
it's
is your
an
answer,
expedition.
Ala? What is your answer?
Along on a difficult journey.
To discover a new area, okay?
Yes.
It means expedition. This is the answer.
What do you think is the answer is?
What is the answer?
Have you got another word, for
answer-
example?
My God, the answer is expedition, okay?
It's like
Expedition,
Answer.
expedition, expedition.
Yes,
Am I right?
thank
Is it okay, Ala?
Do you have another question? Another question?
you. No, thank you.
Okay, goodbye. Thanks for your call. Ala, we feel that she got lost a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay. Thanks for your call, Ala.
I
We wish
think
you all the best.
I think
Yes.
she got lost between two words, expeditions and exploration. I think
Exploration.
so.
Exploration is not a journey.
Yes, I know. that.
Exploration is a noun, which means a process.
Yes.
It's a process to explain, to explore.
Then we
maybe
have-
I think
a
that
new
she got
area.
lost in the
She
spelling
got
of the
lost.
word,
Yes,
maybe,
she
not
get
in the
confused
meaning.
maybe.
Yes.
But when we talk about a journey,
Expedition, of course.
it's
Of
an
course,
expedition.
expedition.
Yes.
If
yes.
two words, she can say exploration trip, for
It's a
example.
journey to explore.
Yes.
It's a journey to explore.
explore.
So this is the expedition.
Yes.
Okay. Explanation is the process.
Yes.
It is the process itself, not a
Exactly.
journey.
Yes.
Am I right? So let's go back to our explanation.
Okay, we were talking about
Yes,
the.
please.
In the second example, we said use the for regions, and we have given the first example. Aleppo is in the north of Syria. And a third use the second time you mention something, and the first time you mention it. Example. Palmyra is a city in Syria. It's a city. Among these all...
It is one of a group, or in a group.
It's one of the cities in Syria.
Yes.
But when I say or talk about it again, in the second time, the city is famous for its ancient ruins.
Because it becomes, let's say,
Known for us.
for both the speaker and the listener. So
Exactly.
that's why we use the when we mention anything for the second
It becomes
time.
familiar now.
Of course.
Yes.
What
And
else?
yes, we use a for one of many possible examples. One
of many.
example. Yes, an example.
Ali is a...
Ali is a student in my class.
So
there
in
are
my
many
class,
students
maybe there
in my
are 20
class.
students, 30
Exactly.
students.
And Ali is one of them.
Is one of them. So
Yes.
when we want to talk about one example
We
in
say
a group, one of
a student
group,
in my class.
yes,
A student.
he is not the only student in
He is
my
not the
class.
only student.
He is
yes.
one of them.
Or the most
He is a
hard-working
student.
student, for example.
Yes.
The laziest
We have
student.
another call. Thank you, Mr. Hussam. Zainab from Latakia. Good afternoon, Zainab.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
We're fine, thank you.
I
Thanks
have
for
a
your
ques-
call. This is number one. Number
have a
two, what's your question?
I have a question in activity book 50, number 50.
Number what?
Page 50.
Page 60.
50.
Page 60. Okay, what is your question?
Number 6, exercise number 6.
Exercise number 6
There is no
at
exercise
page
number
60?
6.
Yes.
Just a minute, Zainab. In the activity book?
Page.
In the activity book or in the student's book?
Activity book.
Activity book, page 60 or 16?
50.
6?
50.
60. We are now
page
at
50.
page 60.
Page 50, exercise number 6.
50.
50.
50.
Okay.
Raise your voice, Zainab. Okay,
Exercise
thank
number
you.
6, yes.
Page 50. I'm trying to reach the... Yes, here we are. Exercise 6.
Yes.
Okay, we can use the laptop. Thank you very much. Here we are. Would you please, Zainab, read the question of the exercise?
Complete the sentences about
Imaginary
situation.
situations.
Use the word in brackets.
Use the words in brackets. Right? Use the words in brackets. Look at the
yes.
words here. What do we have, Zainab? Zainab?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay. What do we have between the brackets, Zainab?
Why do we put where, not was?
Okay. I can answer you. Here, Zainab, when we want to talk about conditionals in general, you know the conditionals, right?
Yes.
I mean the if sentences in
Yes,
English.
yes.
Okay?
Okay.
Zainab, you can use or raise your voice and please stay away from the TV, please.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
far from him.
Please, the volume, I want to increase the volume of the TV, please.
Yes.
Okay, raise your voice. I can't hear you very well. Anyway.
I can't hear you.
Okay. When talking about conditionals, Zainab, you know the if sentences that we have, let's say, 3 main types of if statements in English, right?
Yes.
You know type 1.
Yes.
If you study, Zainab, you will pass the exam tomorrow. Okay? We
Okay.
use type 1 to talk about something in the future. Okay?
Okay.
If the condition has been achieved. If you study, you will pass.
It may happen or not.
It is possible to happen if the condition
Possibly
has been
possibility.
achieved. Now let's talk about the second type. When I say
If you studied.
if let's say if I were a millionaire, I would buy a villa. Okay? If I were a millionaire. I am imagining here a situation about the present.
It's not real.
Which is not true. I'm not a millionaire. Believe me. So I'm not a millionaire.
So here we've got
I'm talking
imaginary
about
situation.
myself. I'm imagining something about the present which is not true. So in this case, when you want to use verb to be in unreal past, do you understand unreal past?
Yes, yes.
It means it didn't happen.
Yes.
It didn't actually happen.
Yes.
It is an imaginative situation. So this past is called unreal past. When you have to use be, when you use be in unreal past, you have to use were with all pronouns. But of course, we can use was.
Yes.
You can use
Exactly.
was here. If I was not interested in art. And you can say if I weren't interested in it. But maybe were is formal. Were is formal. Okay?
And was is informal.
And was is spoken, let's say, is used in spoken
We have
language.
two answers here.
In informal language. Is it clear now?
Yes, yes.
So in the exam, don't worry, you can use was with singular, let's say, and you can use were
With
with
all the
all
pronouns.
pronouns. Don't worry about this.
Yes.
If they have to fill in the gaps,
yes.
for example.
Thank you very much.
It can be was
Can you
for
do
them.
it number 3, Zainab?
Yes.
Can you do it?
I'm not understand.
Can you do number 3?
Number 3.
Yes.
If I weren't interested in art, I wouldn't go to the art gallery.
Gallery.
What does it mean? If I weren't interested in art, it means that I am interested in art.
Yes.
Okay? We are imagining the opposite of reality. In reality, you are interested in art and
Yes.
you go to the art gallery. But you are imagining the opposite situation. You are imagining something which is not true. You say, if I weren't interested, I wouldn't go. It means that you are interested and you go.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, yes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for your call. Goodbye. Good luck. Another call, Noor from Tartus. Good afternoon, Noor. Noor.
Hi,
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Me too. Thank you
I
very
have
much.
a question to Mr. Hussein.
Mr. Hussam, please. Noor is talking to you.
Yes.
Can you hear her?
Not very
Maybe.
good.
Raise your voice, please. We can't hear Noor in the studio here, please. The voice is not clear in the studio. It's okay. Ask your question, please.
About
Noor.
exercise number 6.
Exercise number 6 in what
Page.
book?
Book.
Student.
Students.
Mr. Hussam, the student's
Student's
book.
book page.
What page?
6. 13-1.
31?
Yeah.
31. It's
31.
okay. I'm trying to... It's okay.
Yes.
31. Okay.
The question is,
Can I write about my city or village?
Sorry?
Can I write
exercise?
about my
You mean
city
which
or
exercise,
village?
Noor?
We
You
can
mean
use the
exercise
laptop
number
now.
6?
We are at page 31. It's okay. We can use the laptop.
which
Would you
exercise,
please-
Noor?
Exercise
Exercise number 6.
number 6.
Number
Ah,
6, yes.
talk to Mr. Hussam. What is your question?
Can I write about my city or village?
What
Can
do you
you
think?
talk about
Can
your
she
city?
write about her city or village here?
Choose one tourist site in your town or city and write a paragraph about
Where
it.
are you from, Noor?
Where are you
are
from?
Tartus.
I'm from Tartus.
Tartus? Where in Tartus? Is it Tartus itself or
The city
in
or
the
the
village around
countryside?
Tartus?
In the city.
In the city?
In the city.
What about Tartus? It's so good to write
You
about
can talk
Tartus.
about the sea.
It's a tourist
Noor,
attraction.
you can talk about the sea, the shore. It is a tourist
Tartus in
attraction.
general is a tourist city.
A lot of people visit Tartus,
Yes.
especially in
Yes,
summer,
yes, Noor.
right?
The answer is yes. You can write about your city.
You can
And-
write about a tourist attraction, which is, for example, Arwad
Yes.
Island.
Yes,
Arwad,
Arwad
what about
Island.
Arwad Island? You can talk about it.
Even
It is a
if you
tourist
are,
site in your city.
even if you
Yeah.
are from the countryside, every meter in Syria is good for tourism.
Yes, yes,
Welcome to Syria,
yes.
Yes.
all of you.
And
from
welcome
the
to
whole
you.
world. Yes, and welcome to you, Noor. Is it okay?
Okay.
Thanks for your
Thank
call. Goodbye. Good
Good.
luck. Great student. Thank you very much. Now, maybe we can go back to the articles, Mr. Hussam.
Yes. Just there is one
Yes.
idea
Yes.
left. Use a for one of many possible examples. Example, Ali is a student in my class, and we have said that he is
Yes. One
a
of a
student
group. One
of
of
a group.
Yes.
Yes, and he is not. There is more than one student, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 50 students in the class, and Ali is just one.
If we say
of
Ali is the
them.
student in my class, it
There
means
is
that
no one
he is the
but
only
him.
student and we don't have any other students in the class.
Yes.
It is wrong to say Ali is the student.
Exactly.
If we want to say Ali is the student who, let's say, broke the window.
So we
Here in this
specified
case,
this.
He
we
himself.
specify
And
a
he's
person,
alone who
so we
broke the
can
window.
use it, that. But here in this case, it is wrong to use that. Of course.
Yes.
Yes. What else? Now, Miss Lucia, what about some quantity words? Some. The word some.
Some quantity
All,
words.
any, many.
So far we talked about
Yes.
few, many,
Yes.
little, much.
Yes.
Few, many for countable nouns, little, much for uncountable nouns.
Yes.
Now, if you want to talk about some, use some to talk about unspecified quantities. But here, the unspecified quantities are countable and uncountable nouns. In the case of few, many, we've got only countable nouns.
Yes.
In the case of little and much, we've got only uncountable nouns. Here, in the case of some, we've got unspecified quantities, but these quantities either
You mean-
countable or
You mean
uncountable
we
nouns.
can use some before countable nouns, and we can use some before
Uncountable
uncountable
nouns.
nouns.
Yes.
We can say some cars, and we can say
Some
some sugar,
water or
some
sugar.
water,
Yes.
etc. Please, the
Example.
examples.
There are some interesting places in my city. The word places here is countable noun, and we can use the word some to just, let us say, unspecified quantity of the word place.
Yes.
The next example, I usually visit my village for some fresh air. Here, the word air is uncountable noun, and we can use the word some with this word as an uncountable noun. Next, please, here we've got the use of any. If we use some with countable and uncountable nouns for unspecified quantities, the same is applied for any, but for questions and negative sentences. Yes.
We cannot use any in affirmative statements.
Affirmative statement.
Positive.
So
Yes.
here we've got the same idea about the quantities, but here we've got the idea of question and negative form. For example, have you got any ideas about the new game? Here we've got a question, and we put here the word any as any ideas. We've got here a quantity, but we use the quantity here as the form of question. Next, there aren't any restaurants in my town. Here we've got the word any before the word restaurants, and restaurants here is a countable noun, but here we've got negative sentence, and we use any with negative sentences.
First, we should mention something else. Any can be used before countable nouns and can be used before
Uncountable
nouns.
nouns.
So there isn't any sugar in my glass, for example, in my cup. And there aren't any restaurants in my town.
The same
So
idea about some. So in
Yes.
some we use it with countable and
Yes,
uncountable.
yes.
In
The
the
same is
negative form.
applied with any,
Yes.
which is used with countable and uncountable
yes,
nouns.
yes, exactly.
Next, use all to include every example of the subject. Here we're talking about every example in a certain subject. We have to use all. For example, all the houses in my town were built many years ago. Here we include every example about the word house, and
All
in this case we say all the houses in my town.
And we can say all houses.
Yes, we
Without
can.
that.
Yes, we can.
We can use.
We
Yes.
can use.
Good. All houses, it means all examples of the same subject. All cars, all cars. All people, all people.
Example
That's
of
it.
the
Yes.
subject.
Thank you very
every
much.
example.
I think my students, my dear students, my dear colleagues, we've got now a clear idea about all these things, the articles. We hope
Yes.
that the students now can understand very well how to use the articles, and how to use some expressions which may refer to quantity or to number, etc., and how to report statements and questions. Of course, dear students, as you know, in Unit 3 and in Unit 4, we have a number of texts
Yes.
and a number of exercises. We will try to cover some of them if we have enough time to do all these things. Let's go back to the student's book. I think it is, let's start with a good text about Syria.
Page number
At
30?
page maybe
30.
30, yes, that's it. Here we are. As you know, dear students, again we have another call. Fatin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Fatin, you are in grade 9, right?
I'm fine, and you?
We're fine, we're fine. Thank you. You are in grade 9, Fatin, right?
Yes.
Are you studying? Are you working hard? Are you preparing yourself very
Yes.
well for the final exam? Yes or no?
I can't hear.
You can't hear me?
Yes.
We hope that you are working very hard for the exam. Can you hear me now?
I have a question about WH question in the exam.
Yes.
If we have the question about the text, is it enough to answer shortly, or I have to write the complete
About what?
answer?
Sorry?
WH question.
WH question.
WH question? About what? Raise your voice. Repeat your question, please. Repeat.
I have a question about WH question
WH?
in the exam.
WH questions.
Okay.
If we have a question about the answer shortly,
If we can answer shortly,
or I
Answer
have
shortly, yes.
maybe.
to write a complete answer.
You are talking about the text itself, the second text. In the second text in the exam, on the first
We got
page,
WH questions.
as you know, you have two types of text, right? Two texts. In
The
text
second
one, it's not necessary to write anything. You have to choose A,
Yes,
B,
choose
C,
A, B, C.
and the second task
To choose the words.
match the words, the underlined
The
words
meanings.
with one of the definitions below. In the second text, of course, again, you have three statements. You will be given three questions or three statements to say or to decide whether they are true or false. In the second task,
part.
you have two questions. This is what you mean.
Yes.
When we have a WH question, of course, here sometimes we want you to give us the specific information. It's a comprehension question. It's not necessary sometimes to write a complete answer. There is no need. For example, let me give you an example. Firas lives in Tartus. Okay?
And the question is
For example, where does Firas
live?
live?
In Tartus.
You can say in Tartus. There is no need to say Firas lives in Tartus. Okay? Okay?
Okay.
Clear? So, Zainab or what?
Fatin.
Fatin,
I
sorry.
guess.
Fatin, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten your name. So, Fatin, in the exam, what is required from these questions is to give the information. There is no need. So you are free. Use your own words to give the information. You can say Firas lives in Tartus, and you can say in Tartus.
Yes.
So it's okay.
We will understand you.
Yes. Okay, Fatin?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good luck and goodbye. Thank you. Okay. Let's go back to the text about Syria. Of course, this text is maybe a long text, and maybe it contains a number of paragraphs, maybe 5 paragraphs, right? What about paragraph 1? Miss Lucia, can you tell the students or give the students some information about Syria as an introduction? What do you know about Syria, Lucia?
Syria, we can just read the first few lines. Syria is rich in history and culture.
So,
It has many
what
wonderful
do we mean
places
by the
to
word
visit.
culture here? Does it mean maybe
The
civilization?
word culture,
Old
civilization, which is in the past, the
Our old
previous,
history, the inherited
period.
maybe?
Inherited history.
Yes, yes. Okay.
It has many wonderful places to visit. The capital city, Damascus, has lovely stone houses and historical sites, such as the Citadel, the Umayyad Mosque, Palmyra is a world-famous archaeological site and one of Syria's most spectacular national treasure. Aleppo is Syria's second largest city, famous for its poets and musicians and for its spicy food.
Really?
Yes.
You like spicy food, right?
We like it.
Okay. Pepper, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Syria is rich in history and culture. Okay, it has many wonderful places to visit. It's okay. What is the capital city of Syria?
It's Damascus.
It's
So
Damascus.
students,
Good. What is Damascus, Mr. Hussam, famous for?
It's famous for Umayyad Mosque.
The
or
Umayyad Mosque, for the old houses, maybe stone houses,
Souq
lovely stone
al-Hamidiyya.
houses, Souq al-Hamidiyya. There are many things
Yes.
which make Damascus famous.
And
And
Qasim
again,
Mountain.
Damascus is one of the oldest cities all over the world.
Yes,
Throughout history, it has been the oldest city.
the oldest
in the
capital
world.
in the world.
Yes, populated or inhabited.
Populated
Exactly.
and inhabited, yes.
Exactly. So when we say, Miss Lucia, the word spectacular, Syria's most spectacular national treasures, Palmyra is considered.
amazing. We can replace it with the
The
word.
meaning of spectacular, amazing,
amazing,
wonderful,
wonderful.
Interesting,
something.
exciting.
Yes, something like that. So it is a positive adjective.
Yes.
What is the second largest city in Syria, Mr. Hussam?
It's Aleppo.
It is Aleppo. What
Yes.
is Aleppo famous for?
Spicy food.
Not only spicy
Not
food, of
spicy
course.
food, the-
We like spicy
the
food.
citadel
but-
in the
yes,
in the middle of
for
Aleppo.
Aleppo citadel,
Aleppo
for its
citadel.
poets, musicians.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Abu
it.
Firas
So
al-Hamadani and
course.
You let us
There's many
think about
examples.
food. It's
Yes.
lunchtime.
I like Aleppo food, by the way. It is never boring in Syria. When someone visits Syria,
wherever you go, you will
he won't be he won't, let's say, get bored at all. He will, let's say, enjoy his time. Why? Because there are many cities, wonderful cities in Syria he can visit.
Exactly.
And again, we have different climates. Why do we have different climates in Syria? Because of the geographical.
Because of the geographical
We
site
have
of the
location.
city
coastal
itself.
line,
We have a
the
variety
mountains.
of places or locations. If you go to Latakia and Tartus, you can visit the sea.
If we want to
you
go to
the north,
Palmyra,
if you
desert.
can visit Aleppo. If you go to Damascus, you can visit Souq al-Hamidiyya, the Umayyad Mosque. If you go to Palmyra, you will see
The ruins.
again
Desert
the
and
castle,
ruins.
the ruins. If you go to Sweda, if you go to Dar'a, so we have a lot of, let's say,
Variety of historical
variety
places, yes.
of interesting places. That's why we, let's say, enjoy different kinds of climates, really.
Yes.
Nature is very wonderful in Syria. What about the crops? Again, because we have a nice climate in most places, so again, I think many places are famous for agriculture. What do you mean when we say agriculture, Mr. Hussam?
Farming.
farming, yes.
growing crops.
Yeah, growing
Where
crops.
do people in Syria usually grow crops? I think everywhere. It's not in one place, but maybe each
In Al
region
Jazeera,
is famous for, let's say, some
Certain
types
kind
of crops.
yes.
When you go to Al Jazeera, for example,
Wheat.
Hasaka, Qamsi,
Yes.
Wheat
these places,
is the
there's
most
Zor, Al-Raqqa,
important one.
we can say, so they are famous for what? Growing
Growing wheat.
wheat, exactly. When you visit the coastal plains, for example, I mean the areas which are
Citrus
near the
fruit.
coast or on the coast,
Citrus
on
fruit,
the shore.
orange, lemon.
Oranges, apple.
That's it. What about animals? Again, there is a variety, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are discussing all these things to make the student, let's say, understand the ideas of the text. So, dear student, when you read a text, any kind of text, try to get, let's say, the information in reality, in our real life. As we always say, we read to get information.
Especially
we don't
around
read
Syria,
for
yes.
reading. When we read to get information. So
For
this is a skill.
specific
So when you
information.
read, try to train yourself to get information.
And in this way, they can answer the questions in the final exam.
Exactly.
Because when
It
they
is a
understand
skill.
the text, we've got true-false questions, answer questions. In this case, you can answer in the correct way.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Do we have any let's say, type of, here we have a text at page maybe, yes, it's at page 33. Again, here, exercise 3, the first
It's a practical test.
yes,
text
it
about
is a kind of practice. Thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Hussam. Let's try to do it, please. Here, we have to read the question, the rubric.
Yes.
It's very important.
We have to
read.
complete using too much, too many, enough, or more. If
Yes.
you mean exercise number 4. Is it exercise number 4 exactly, Mr. Basil?
It's number
4?
4. It's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 4.
Then we have to use too much, too many, enough, and more to fill in the gaps.
Yes.
We are writing to tell you the results of our study of traffic in our town. We have found that there is, look after the gap, we have got traffic, and the traffic is an uncountable noun.
Yes.
And we have to use too much traffic on our roads, and there are
Lorries.
lorries. Lorries is a countable
Lorries.
noun, and we have to use too many. There aren't
What do we mean when we say
buses.
lorries?
Lorries, big cars
Big
that
cars
convey
for carrying goods,
carrying goods, not people.
Yes.
Yes.
Not people.
And
Okay.
here in the same page, we've got the difference between a lorry and a van.
A van, yes.
Van,
They
which
know
is
that.
a smaller.
They know the difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are not
yes.
used for freight.
Yes.
They are used for freight
Okay.
traffic.
So lorries is a countable noun.
Yes.
Yes.
There aren't enough buses, so people drive their cars everywhere instead. Pedestrians find it difficult to walk because the pavements aren't wide enough, and there aren't enough pedestrian crossings. There isn't enough parking, so cars are parked badly and block the streets.
Yes.
Anna?
Miss Lucia.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr.
Mr.
Bassel,
Hussam.
I have comments about this text. First of all, dear students, pay attention to the countable nouns and uncountable nouns. In number 2, we said that it's too many because we've got lorries as countable nouns, whereas in too much traffic, we've got traffic, which is uncountable. Concerning enough, we've got the use of enough and too. We use the form of too plus adjective.
How can the students differentiate or distinguish between the two
We're
words?
going to talk about the form. We've got the form to plus adjective, or the adjective plus enough, but we've got here the negative form.
Yes.
So in this case, we've got, for example, there aren't enough pedestrians.
It's a negative situation.
It's negative
It's
situation
general-
to put
It's
enough.
usually a negative situation.
Yes.
And
yes.
you said we use enough after the adjective.
The adjective, not before it.
Not
We
before
use
it.
Two is
to,
before that.
To
Before
is
it.
located or is placed before the adjective.
whereas enough is after the adjective.
Yes. Yes.
If we
second
continue
paragraph.
reading, another problem is that there aren't enough trees, the same thing, which is
Yes.
negative,
Yes.
to help clean the air, and the city isn't peaceful enough. The same thing, which is negative, isn't peaceful enough. And of course, the word enough is located after the peaceful, which is adjective,
Because it is so noisy.
because it's so noisy. Too much noise. Noise is uncountable noun. In this case, we've got too much instead of too many. Is bad for people's health. In particular, the motorbikes and lorries make too much noise, the same thing.
Yes.
So, to conclude, there should be more buses and not as many cars, motorbikes, and lorries. We recommend that some buses are replaced with quieter electric ones. We also suggest that buses go more often so people can leave their cars at home. Finally, we think pavements should be made wider to make walking more comfortable, and more trees should be planted.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's a good idea to do some exercises in the activity book. It's at page 50. Page 50. No, not page 50, before this, because we are in Unit 3 and 4. Here we are. The exercises in Unit 3, dear colleagues, dear students.
Page 15.
Here we are. Yes, page 26, please. Page 26. The first exercise, exercise 3. Page 26.
Yes.
In the activity book, exercise 3, we can use the laptop. Thank you very much. Complete the sentences with a, the, or nothing. It's a good exercise, a good practice for the articles.
Yeah.
Let me start with Mr. Hussam, please.
Okay. One of the best places. We use the here because it's a superlative adjective. Okay, best is the superlative adjective of good.
Yes.
And when we use superlative adjectives, we have to use the before them. One of the best places for tourists in general.
In general.
We are talking about tourists in general, so there is no need to use,
There is no need to use
the definite article
yes,
the.
yes. For tourists to visit in Syria
is the old city.
Is the old city, yes.
So,
It's in the center of
because
Damascus.
we are here talking about a region,
A specific place, a region, yes.
Specific place. So we have to use the. The
Yes.
center, it is in the center of Damascus.
Exactly.
We cannot say, of course, it is in a center of Damascus because Damascus has only one center. And you
As a
see,
city, yes.
As a city. So it is in the center of Damascus.
Okay. May I complete?
Before we go on, we have another call. Hamada, good afternoon. Hamada,
Sir.
Hamada, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
I
afternoon.
have a question to Mr. Hussam.
Okay,
Is he from Tartus?
I'm sure you are from Tartus, right?
Yes.
Hamada. Okay, he'd like to ask you.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm ready.
Hamada, raise your voice, please. Mr.
I have
Hussam
a
is with you.
question. I have a question in page number 19, activity book.
Page what?
When I write
Page
about
19, Hamada. Page what? Sorry. What page? The page.
19,
19.
19, okay.
That's it.
Yes.
19 activity book.
Okay, okay. Page 19 in the activity book. Here
Yes.
we are. What?
When I write about a tourist site, should I write about a city in general or about certain? Please, thank you.
Again, please. Repeat your
When he writes
question.
about
Repeat your question. We can use the laptop. It is in the laptop.
Yes.
Okay. This is your question, right? Write a fact file about a tourist site in Syria. So, what is your question about it? Repeat your question. Hamada,
Yes,
repeat your question, please.
I write about a tourist site. Should I write about a city in general or about a certain place?
a certain place.
Mr. Hussam, a certain place or
I have
about
got
a
the
city
question.
in general? A tourist site could
according
be
to the-
any place.
Yes, according to page number 19, write a fact file about a tourist site in Syria. It's a site. It's not specific.
A definite
You
one.
can write about a city, a village, or
Yes.
even a certain place. For example, here we have got the National Museum. You can write about the National Museum.
Why not?
You can write about
Any
Aleppo
place.
Citadel.
You are free,
can write
Hamad.
about Souq al-Hamidiyya, about the Umayyad Mosque, or you can write about a village
It's okay.
or
Hamada,
a city in general.
thank you, Mr. Hussam. Hamada,
Thank you.
here the question says in Syria. So you are free. You can choose any
Exactly.
tourist site in Syria.
Yes.
You can choose something from your city. It's okay.
Yes.
Your Tartus is a city in Syria.
Yes.
Why not? Arwad is an island in Tartus, and it's okay. It is a tourist site in Syria.
And even
so
the
you are
specific
free.
place.
You can write anything about anything, any tourist site.
Even
in
a
Syria.
building.
Yes, even a building. Yes, not only an area. You can talk about a building, a museum.
Yes.
As Mr. Hussam said. Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have another question? Okay,
No.
goodbye. Goodbye.
No.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Ala. Good afternoon. We have another call. Ala from
Tartus.
Tartus again. Okay, good. Tartus students. Very good. Hard-working students.
Tartus.
Okay, I know. You are from Tartus. Ala, what is your question?
Yes.
Your question, please.
My question is about exercise number 1, page number 16. In sentence number 3, can I say...
Just a minute. In the student's book or in the activity book?
Just to follow you.
Ala.
And why I can use where with
My
it.
God. Ala, just a minute. I can't hear you. Step by step. In the activity book, what page? Page what?
16.
Page.
16.
Page.
Page 16, activity book.
16. Okay, page 16.
Yes.
We are now at page 16. What
16.
exercise? 60 or 16?
16.
16.
Exercise.
Okay, use the laptop, please. Here we are. What exercise?
Exercise number 1.
Number 1. Which number?
In sentence number 3.
Number 3. Okay, I am reading a very interesting book about Syria, right?
Yes.
I'm reading a very interesting book about Syria. She said that. Can you do it?
He said that she was or were reading.
Was reading, of course.
Was
And
reading.
was
She
Why
said-
use where with she?
No.
It's not a conditional sentence.
It's not a conditional. We are not imagining here.
It's not
Ala,
a real past.
Ala, listen to me. Just listen to me. We can use where with all pronouns
Just.
when we talk about something imaginary. I mean, when you use wish or when you use the if sentences type 2. That's it. If I were rich, for example, I would help the poor, okay? Or I wish I were a doctor. I wish I, etc.
Exactly.
This is
That's it.
unreal past.
2 cases only in English you can use where with all pronouns. But here we are not imagining, Ala. You are reporting something real.
Yes.
You
Mr.
don't
Bassel, as
imagine
we've
here.
mentioned before about present continuous and past continuous,
Yes.
the students should pay attention when we change the subject into
Yes. I am
plural,
reading
we have
becomes
to
was
change it.
reading.
We have to
Yes.
change
Okay.
In report
Ala.
speech, yes.
Ala,
Ala.
okay?
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So it is wrong to use where here?
The answer
No.
is was.
The answer is, she said she
was
was reading a
reading
very
a
interesting
very-
book about Syria. It is the reported speech. Nowhere here.
Not unreal
Use
past.
where in the if statements, in the conditionals, type 2.
This has happened because you
Yes.
have explained it.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe she get confused when
maybe.
she dealt with this statement. It's
Okay.
okay. Dear students, time is over. Before we leave, I hope that our seminar for today was so beneficial to you. I hope that you are working hard. At the end of this seminar, dear students, dear colleagues, let me thank my dear colleague, the English supervisor from Aleppo, Lucia Karim. Thanks for coming from Aleppo.
Thank you,
Thanks
Mr.
for your
Bassel.
participation.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hussam Al-Mahmoud, an English teacher from Tartus. Thanks a lot for your
Thank you very
participation,
much,
Mr.
sir.
Hussam.
Thank you very
Dear
much.
students, this is Bassel Sadiq speaking from the Syrian Educational Channel in Damascus. Till we meet in other seminars, we wish you all the best and goodbye. Thank you.